Hey guys, and welcome to another news video. This is where I tell you all that you need to know about the current happenings on Kickstarter around miniature board games in general. So let's go ahead and get right into it. As always, a huge shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. You guys are all rock stars. Without your support, I would not be able to produce all of these independent videos in this fashion. I do not get paid by any of the companies that I'm covering, and even the ones that I don't cover. I just don't take money from people, and instead let you guys support my efforts here. So thank you so much for that. And even if you aren't one of those, if you're down there commenting, liking, subscribing, using that Amazon link, pausing the ad blocker or anything like that, sharing the link, all of that is super helpful, super appreciated. I love it. I love you guys. You guys all rock. Let's get right into it. All right, now starting things out, we have Nemesis Lockdown. I know I've already shown this. What I haven't shown you before is this miniature lady right here. We actually had the artwork from her earlier, I believe. It was like one of the first things that they showed actually was this kind of artwork. And I think I actually showed it last time. And now we just have a miniature for it. So it's this lady right here. You can see the sling on her arm, a little bit of a different pose. She's got the breathing mask. She's already ready for any kind of virus outbreak that might make people quarantine. She's all set for it, so that's good. Except she's on Mars and has some crazy laces. I'm not so sure about some of the detail here. The renders that they do, that miniature, that Awaken Realms does, is always fantastic. Though it's very hard, if not impossible, to get that kind of detail on a miniature, just the skill that they do and the plastic that they use and the manufacturer that they have. Like these crisscross laces, I wouldn't expect that. But either way, overall design-wise, I think she looks awesome. And we have a date of the 28th, so that's coming here soon. Next up, come on, comics. That'll be on May 26th. This is a comic book, and I would not normally cover this except that they're hiding gameplay material behind each and every single one so that you end up back in their comics so you can get the game pieces. So if you are susceptible to FOMO and you want everything that you could possibly get for Death May Die, you're going to have to buy a comic book now. After that, probably a Happy Meal or maybe a subscription plan to some online thing or who knows what. I'm sure they'll think of something. Next up, I have this image right here. Yes, this is a T-Rex. This is from Dinosaurs 1944 by Peterson Games. It'll be on June 15th, so it's a little ways out. Now, my understanding is there's a little kind of oddity about the delivery of his last few games. Probably blaming COVID. I don't know the details, so I'm not going to go into that. It's just something to guys keep in mind. I would click on the previous projects and see where their other stuff is. But either way, World War II and dinosaurs, why the heck not? Now, for actual Kickstarters that are going right now, Oko Oni Hunters, I had mentioned this before. This is a miniatures game that they did was fantastic. This Oni Hunters by the Red Joker is only a card game, solo and co-op. However, it has fantastic art. It's based off an IP I like. I have the games right down there. They're actually really, really good. Very much hidden gems. Fantastic miniatures and really cool card gameplay. And based off that card gameplay, I'm kind of interested in this too, so I need to look into it more. But the price seems to be what I expected, and it seems to be doing quite well. So, yeah, we'll link to that below. Next up, we have Redgrass Games and their updated version 2 holder. Now, I have the first one of it, and I must say the 360 on this is really, really good. It smooths, it goes good. That orange tack is some god tier tack. It's better than blue tack. It sticks extremely well. It pretty much, I don't know what kind of weird sciencey crap they put in there, but it's really good stuff. This one, the difference here is the top is removable, so you can have multiple. So it's nice for batch painting and something like that. And then they have a little magnet thing down there, though I find that much less useful. Considering the top comes off, I would just take the top off and store the miniature that way, as opposed to on the handle itself. But either way, that's there. Price is pretty good. This is my second favorite holder. My first one would be the Citadel Hobby holder because it's about half the price. It's cheaper than any other one that I've seen, and I like the thicker handle. And I don't tend to care about putty. I don't tend to like putty, so the clamp design works okay for me. However, the putty is a little bit more versatile, and their putty in particular is actually pretty good. So this is definitely second place for me, and definitely something to look into, especially if you want to batch paint. All right, moving right along, we have Sheol. Now, Sheol has been struggling to fund. As you can see, it's been out for a couple days now, and it's at about $177,000, $178,000 out of $328 they need. That high mark is the problem here, I think, for the most part. Normally, after you hit about 50, that you claim that you're funded and you start doing some stretch goals and people get excited and people think it's a great deal, and then that's what they do. That 328,826 goal is a accurate goal. They're not lying to us. But on top of that, people tend to not want to be part of something that barely funds, even if it's legitimate. They'd rather think and feel like it was bigger and better than it was. I think part of that is the issue. Part of that might be some of the combat or just all the competition. Hell's doing really good. We'll get to that later. Either way, they've added a add-on that they're doing, and they also are doing daily unlocks now, just trying to get that buzz going, trying to get people to really look into, what they're unlocking, what they're doing. So look into that if you're interested. It's a pretty good game. I enjoyed it. And daily unlocks are something I always support. And not lying about the funding goals, kind of nice too. Next, we have Hell the Last Saga. This thing has launched hardcore, and it's at 1.2 million for them right now. That's not their highest funded, but the amount of backers at 11,265 is actually a record for them, if I'm not mistaken. Mythic Games has been doing a great job doing this and is actually quite impressive. I'm not really backing it right now. I'll put it in as $1 because I'm concerned about some of their testing. All their games have needed a 1.5 for balance and reprints. So I've been kind of concerned about that. They haven't really released one that actually worked out of the gate. However, this is essentially Tainted Grail Mythic Games version. And as you saw Mythic or Awaken Realms do with Tainted Grails, they're doing good here too, right? The themes there, the art's there, the minis, they're a little stubby for my taste, but either way, they're all weird and kind of unworldly there. But anyway, that's doing well. So, I mean, if nothing else, jump on the bandwagon and look into that. All right, next up we have Dark Rituals, an update here. They are actually doing quite good on production. In fact, they made it to where before the other languages other than English were going to be a few months later. Instead, they're all going to be done. They have French, German, Spanish, and English all done. The files have been sent. They're making that. They're shipping that. So that's actually really good to see. They have some updates on some of the miniatures they've been doing. And like I said, now they're doing the actual word stuff, the rule books and cards and whatnot as well. So that's looking great. Next up, Mythic Games is actually doing quite good on their support. They always tend to do this, and I always appreciate that. While I don't necessarily like having really heavy erratas, and I think the game should just be done before it's delivered to us, not after. But either way, they're doing this 3-mission campaign for free called Operation Wolfley. And it's apparently heavily story-based. It'll be free online, and they'll just continue to support that, which I think that's good. Good on them. Okay, their sister company, as I like to say, because they kind of started out the same and have gone separate ways. But either way, Monolith for Conan the Conqueror, they are also doing, they're handling a bad situation good. So, they oversold on the Pledge Manager on their limited quantity stuff. That sucks. So what are they going to do? Well, first of all, they're going to do some hardcore logistics where they're going to look at each hub and see if they can maximize all the stuff that gets out. Also, they had a little bit of a buffer that helps a little bit. In other words, they were trying to be safe. Now, the Pledge Manager, I guess something happened there and they went overboard. But either way, the amount that they listed wasn't actually quite accurate. There was a little bit extra there. And then on top of that, they're going to go by order on who got it first and kind of give it out to them. And then whoever doesn't make the cut, whoever tried to purchase this and didn't, they will get a 100% additional a 100% refund plus an additional compensation. Now, I don't know if that's $5. I don't know if that's 100. I doubt that. But either way, I think that's about the best you can do. It sucks. Command did this with their time capsule thing, and they did not give additional compensation. And as far as I can tell, it was just whoever ended up with the stuff ended up with the stuff. So they're definitely handling this better. It's unfortunate that no company that I have seen yet has been able to do a fixed amount sale really well. I guess they did pretty good on Claustrophobia 1643. But that's because they also need like a second one on top of that, and they limited it not on the Pledge Manager, but in Kickstarter. So perhaps that's the thing. I don't know. All right, well, you saw it in the title. Gen Con has finally announced that they are canceled. It will not be there. If you purchase tickets to fly to Indianapolis, if you purchase hotel tickets, refund them or go there and I guess have a vacation. I don't know. I don't know what you want to do there. But either way, that's not going to happen this year, which means I won't be there this year, which means I won't be able to meet all of you awesome, lovely people. Next year, 2021, let's meet up. Let's do something. I think that'd be awesome. Maybe we can rent out a whole restaurant, just eat some really good food and talk about board games. I don't know. Something cool. We'll do something. We'll figure it out. But either way, 2020, that's pretty much a bust for all these conventions. That being said, like Come On did, like a lot of these are doing, they are doing a Gen Con online. You can go here to gencon.com/online and I guess do some online stuff. Okay, now this is going to be the last thing I cover in this video, and it is a doozy, and I'm going to be talking about it from several different aspects. So, this is Black Rose Wars, by the way, okay? So, this was their April 28th update, their one previous to the last one. Their latest one is 77, this is update 76, and they're talking about Wave 2 production, saying, hey, guess what? We're doing good. Likely to be completed late May. We're going to be talking about the people to go shipping and deliver for July 2020. That's awesome. So everybody gets their Wave 2 stuff. Hunky dory. Awesome. That's good. You get some updates. Look at that. There's Assassin's Creed stuff. Sweet. Now, flash forward from April 28th to May 19th, which is actually a day off of 2 years from them funding. So they funded on, or I guess the Kickstarter ended on May 20th, 2018, and now we are on May 19th, 2020, and it's not good. So, what happened? Well, they're going to mention COVID here at some point, but really what they're saying is, hey, so we charged you shipping 2 years ago, and now the shipping costs that we have is 80% higher than what we had planned for and charged for. So there's an 80% difference. Okay. Now what they're saying, oh, look at COVID-19. Yep. Let's blame that. Not the 2 year delay. So 80%, but don't worry. They will cover 50% of these costs. Now, I don't know what this whole, as in the past, they'll cover 50%, which means there's 30% left over of a cost that's not paid for, that they're not paying for. So what they decided to do was have everybody pay $15 more to release their game. If you pay $15, they're going to reopen the Pledge Manager. You only have a couple weeks to do this. You pay them another $15 on top of the shipping you already paid for 2 years ago, and then you get your item. It's messy, it's bad, it's gross, it's ugly. Let's get into this. Now, first of all, I just want to say that this here, where they talk about the size difference, right? They're like, hey, look, this is what we estimated. First of all, this is just a graphic. It's whatever. But what they're saying is, hey, this is bigger and heavier than we thought it was going to be. Ideally, you knew how heavy and how big it was before, and we're already kind of talking to people for a while now, but I guess they couldn't do that until last minute, right, when they're ready to ship it. But either way, it's a bigger box. Now, they say that don't worry about the $15 because we are actually adding more stuff. We're adding asymmetrical mages and summoner wars free of charge, right? Except that it makes the box bigger and is heavier and costs more to ship. But either way, they're adding that stuff for free, because you don't get a choice on it. Well, what is that? It's like some, it's actually down here. So it's all these different cards, these player board cards, which, add weight and bulk and all that. And then some more rules and some more tokens and boards and whatnot. And all this, just stuff, right? They just did extra stuff. And in fact, this stuff is for retail. So this is going to be at retail and this is going to be at retail. So all of this stuff is stuff they made to then sell at retail and ideally recoup costs, right? So you make it, you spend some time developing it, and then you sell it at retail, you make what you put into it back plus some. That's the whole idea, right, of a business. So what do we have here? We have a game that charged you shipping up front, right, 2 years ago, and then delayed, and now it's super late. And speaking of which, if you want some comparison, like Zombicide Invader was around this time. So, and I've had that for what seems like a year, actually, I think. So, like, it's late. And they kept developing it, and they made some retail stuff, and they shoved all that stuff in it, and the scope expanded, the box expanded, became heavier, and now it costs more to ship. Also, it's now COVID time, though I'm not sure who's making them ship it right now or whatever. Anyway, so I guess my first issue is the scope creep. If the box is bigger and heavier because you put more stuff in it, then you shouldn't do that if you can't handle it. Like, don't put stuff you can't do, right? I'm all for stuff. I'm all for free stuff. Don't get me wrong. I just think it's kind of messy to add stuff without asking anybody and then saying, oh, and now it's more expensive. That's kind of gross. Additionally, this $15 extra is for everyone around the world equal. Now, here's a big kicker here. Way back when this was first going, there was a wave 1 and a wave 2. Some people paid less for a wave 1, where they just had one wave shipping. Some people paid more for a wave 2. Additionally, some people are in Brazil, some people are in China, some people are in Australia, some people are in the US, some people are in Canada. We're all over the place. We all have different, look at this, everybody's paying different amounts for their shipping, plus depending on if they want it all at once or in 2-wave. Now, not only did Ludus Magnus Studio make the poor decision of cramming more into the box to make it bigger and heavier and then saying, hey, now it costs more, and also taking the time to develop all that and being late on it to begin with, or it wouldn't even be during this time. It would have been a year ago when everything else around this time delivered. But they chose to give everybody 2-wave. All the 1-wave people got 2-wave, which means the people who did 2-wave paid it for like a couple months different. They shipped the 2-wave and then right behind it they shipped the 1-wave. And so everybody's had 2-wave shipping. Yet the people who are already paid more to get 2-wave shipping, to get it earlier, are being charged the same 15 as the people in 1-wave shipping. Additionally, the people in this low-cost bracket, like the US here or in Asia, are paying the same amount that the people in Africa that are huge and high, or Oceania or New Zealand or Alaska, or all these people, Puerto Rico, all these places that have more expensive shipping are paying the same amount as the people that did that. They're just doing 15 to everybody. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter. There's no rhyme or reason to it except that they need about $125,000 extra. That's what it equates to, assuming that everybody that was on the Kickstarter finished the pledge manager. Now, not everybody does, but normally you get some late pledges as well. I'm going to assume they even out. It's about $125,000 difference. Now, look at this. This is Limbo Eternal War. Limbo had an issue where they were struggling to have the funds to make the game and ship it. Now, speaking of which, this already delivered well before Black Rose Wars. But what they did, because if you look at this, actually, let me go ahead and make sure. I think it's here. Yeah, so I think they kind of show it off here a little bit. But they have some cool miniatures, right? And look at this big old dragon here, right? With his wings and all that. And so he's going to be in this box. And I don't know for sure, but I would certainly hope that they exhausted all of their options to make this box smaller and cheaper so that they didn't have to charge us an additional fund. So you'll notice here there's this demon without wings because his wings are laid flat over here. Yes, you gotta push him in, whatever. But the box would be so much bigger otherwise. And if you just take off these little parts of the arm that's right here, right, that you kind of stick in there, this box would have been ginormous. So instead, they made it mostly fully assembled, and then you just push those in, and you call it good. You put some putty in there, some glue if you want. But either way, they made it and worked hard and manipulated things and changed things around to where they could ship it without charging extra. Additionally, and an interesting note is Limbo didn't charge shipping until they were actually ready to ship it. So that even though they were late, they charged the exact amount that they needed. So that they already had everything finalized and then just had a wave of, okay, now pay for shipping afterwards. Now that's not always fun, but when it comes to Kickstarter and all these delays and a 1.5 to 2 year delivery windows, it makes sense too. Shipping's going to be changing, whether it's cheaper or more expensive. I would hate to back a Kickstarter right now based off of COVID-19 shipping prices and then have it lessen in 2 years when it actually delivers and I overpaid for shipping. Right? It works both ways. But Ludus Magnus Studio didn't do that. They charged 2 years ahead of time, and they didn't try and make the box smaller. In fact, they overstuffed it to make it even bigger and heavier. So that's kind of messy. So here's Black Rose Wars, and as you can see, April 26th to May 20th, and 2018 is when it ran. Well, here's Hellboy, almost the exact same. It was running at the exact same time, and as you guys know, Hellboy delivered a lot earlier than this, and guess what? They also didn't charge $15 extra to everybody, regardless of circumstance. Solomon Kane. Solomon Kane was around the same time, and it still hasn't delivered, but it will at some point. The games will eventually get that to our doorstep. And guess what? There has been no mention of charging all their backers, all 7,161 of them, $15 extra. They're in the exact same boat. They already charge shipping. They're in the exact same COVID-19 thing. The bold COVID-19 that used to excuse the $15, and they're not doing it. Street Fighters, the miniatures game, that thing has been delayed like crazy. Guess what? Still no word on charging everybody $15 more. Dungeons and Lasers. This was not done at the same time, but it's delivering right now, which is kind of my point. They're delivering in this COVID-19 thing. In fact, they're delivering slightly early, but they're shipping this out during COVID-19 and didn't charge anybody anything extra. So to say that somehow you're in a different scenario, to say that somehow because you swapped to Quartermaster Logistics that you can't do it. And in fact, guess what? If you swap to Quartermaster Logistics and they're too expensive, then don't do it. Do what you can afford as a business before asking your customers for more money. Otherwise, they may not get their game. So what they're saying is, we're shipping this with stuff that we plan on selling at retail and recouping costs, but we can't afford it. That being said, we'll ship it to our hubs and then distribute it based off who paid the $15. If you didn't pay the $15, you might get your game 4 to 5 months later. This is just mind-boggling stupid of Ludus Magnus Studio to do this, and I can't believe they would have the audacity to talk about all these added costs they did. Guess what? We developed more and put it more and made it bigger. Guess what? We paid Quartermaster Logistics, but you get what you pay for and they cost more and we can't afford it. So you're going to have to afford it. And nobody was asked this, and nobody was like, hey, would you rather pay $15 for everybody, all the thousands of you across the world, or would you rather have a different fulfillment center? That was never asked of me. I wasn't asked that. They didn't ask me, hey, do you want to do that or not? They didn't ask me if I wanted the bigger box full of the retail stuff that they plan on selling and making money off of. They didn't ask that. They just did it. So they made it bigger. They chose a more expensive person, and now suddenly they can't afford it, and that's my fault? I get that stuff is expensive, and I get that it sucks to eat money. I get that it sucks to not make money, but I'm the consumer and you're the business. I don't care about your problems very much. If you're struggling to make money off Black Rose Wars, that's your fault. If you're struggling to deliver it while developing more and more and more and planning retail and overstuffing a box and picking more expensive people that you can't afford, that's on you. Why am I paying for your decisions? You didn't get it. I wasn't asked. And even if I'm an investor, well, as an investor, I was never asked about this. I was never said, hey, as our investors, the people that we're going to charge money for, more money for, are you okay with the decisions we're making? No, they just did whatever the heck they want, and they charge $15. And if you don't pay it, then the hundreds of dollars you may have spent on Black Rose Wars, you might not even get your game because of that $15. That's some bull crap. And then on top of all of this, they have the audacity to then start developing another game and want to launch another Kickstarter. They have a game that they can't even release to us without charging more, and they're saying, oh, by the way, back this other one. If that's not having one Kickstarter pay for another, if that's robbing Peter to pay Paul, I don't know what is. LMS needs to get their crap together and figure out how to run a business. Otherwise, my investment will go elsewhere. This is pathetic. I get that it sucks. And I get that if you're a Wave 1 person that got Wave 2 for free because they decided to incur those costs that would have certainly helped to not charge everybody now, then it's not that bad of a deal, right? You're paying $15 for essentially Wave 2. But for everybody else that paid for Wave 2, that kind of sucks that Wave 1 people got Wave 2 for free when we paid for it. And now we're also paying again for Wave 2 again. It's bad. It's bad. And shame on Ludus Magnus Studio for doing this. Figure out how to get $125,000, eat it, and hope you make it in retail, or you do good on your next Kickstarter. I don't care what you do, but it shouldn't be on me to do it for you. It should be on you as a business to run a business. Anyway, okay, my voice is going out. That was intense. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I don't mean to end on a negative note like that. So stuff like this really upsets me. Just the audacity of it, I guess. Just the kind of display of ineptitude that they're doing when it comes to running a business and incurring costs and making business decisions that they can't afford. It's amazing to kind of watch. I wish I was at more of a distance watching it. I don't want to get burned by the fire as I watch it burn, but yeah, it's something else. So there's that. But there's a lot of cool Kickstarters that are coming out or that are out right now that you can totally check out. There's more news coming, I'm sure. So once it's there, I'll be here to tell you about it. If you want to hear about it and you're interested and you haven't subscribed, the button's right down there. Go ahead and do it. I'm going to be doing these a little bit more often, kind of staying on top of things. So we can really talk about the news as it comes out together. Thanks so much for watching, as always, and thank you for your support if you so choose. I am internally in your debt. You guys are all rock stars. Every last one of you watching this right now are totally awesome. And with that, I'll talk to you guys again really soon about Senkokushin 5 Sacrifices. So I'm going to do a detailed overview video of that, so be on the lookout for that, and catch you next time.